So, you finally finished off that Vaseline container you've been using for the last 2 years. What are you going to do with it now? Well, I'll tell you. You're going to turn it into a robot. The first thing I do is I trace a couple of circles on the sides of the Vaseline container, and these are just smaller than the Gatorade caps that I'm going to use for the hip joints later on. I then cut out the plastic with an X-Acto knife, and I know this looks kind of dangerous, and that's because it kind of is, but as long as you go slow, you'll be totally fine. This is just a piece of scrap XPS foam that I had, and I'm going to put it in the middle to make sure that things don't flex too much. I used some craft foam and cut out a circle the same size as those Gatorade caps, and a kind of cool shape that vaguely resembles the original container. And I'm doing this so that it covers up those seams. I start to build out the shape of the robot. This is a piece of a broken cap gun, and I'm going to glue it onto the back with another piece of plastic. I'm gluing sheets of EVA foam into this plastic cap, and this will make it easier to glue it to the front of the container because it has that curve to it. There's still a few gaps in a few places, so I'm going to mix up a batch of milliput and fill all those off camera. Not only are these little pipettes great tools, they also make great greeblies. I'm going to take these and cut them into 3 different pieces, and I'll use each piece in a different part in this project. This part here is a bit too squishy for what I need, so I'm going to fill it with some plaster of Paris. I'm going to inject it using a syringe, but what you see me doing first is poking a few holes in the top so that when I inject the plaster, the air has somewhere to go and it doesn't just explode everywhere. And I learned that the hard way the first time, as you can see by the mess behind me. After a few hours, they fully dry, and I can attach them to these little brackets. I'm actually not sure what these are from, but they work perfect for this situation. I clean up all the milliput seams with some sandpaper and blend everything in. For the legs, I was inspired by the legs of the AT-STs from Star Wars, and so I'm taking apart a broken Transformers toy and cutting up the pieces that I know I'll need later. The light gray parts on the top of the leg are resin casts from a pre-made mold made by Evil Ted. There was still a bit of a gap in the leg, so I'm going to fill it with some EVA foam and then cover that with bits of those pipettes that I cut off earlier. If you've watched my other robot and droid build videos, you know I have a thing for robots with single eyes. So once again, I'm going for a single-eyed robot on this one. Now that the main form is done, I can start adding smaller details and greeblies, including the very tips of those pipettes from earlier. And this is a bit of guitar wire that I bent into shape off camera. And you can never go wrong with a few googly eye greeblies. And with that, the overall build is done. Now we can move on to painting. Speaking of painting, the entire thing gets a coat of flat black primer, and then I'm going in with a silver dry brush and coating the entire thing. This gives me a really good base to paint off of, and any parts I don't paint will just look like metal. I've been trying to challenge myself by painting brighter and more colorful projects lately, and for this one I decided I would go with a nice bright orange color. I watered down the paint with a few drops of water just to make it easier to get into all the smaller cracks and details. That does mean I will have to do a few passes though to get the coverage that I want. Since I was trying to build, paint, and edit this video in less than a week, I decided to keep the color scheme very simple and just do orange and silver. Most of the robots and droids and projects that I build, they have a theme or a purpose. With this one, I really didn't have one, and I still don't have one. I'm not sure what this robot is supposed to do or what its purpose is, and I think I'm just going to keep it that way. I'm actually going to leave it up to you guys. I would love to know what you think this robot's job is, what it was built to do. I kind of think it looks like a camcorder with legs, so maybe some type of surveillance, but I'm really not sure. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. I'd love to hear. The rest of the painting is pretty self-explanatory, so I'm just going to let you watch and listen to some jazz. To break up the solid orange pipettes, I'm adding this strip of fake leather. This adds some in-world stability and just breaks up all that orange. For the weathering, I'm keeping it super quick and dirty, no pun intended. This is a wash. It's a mix of black and brown acrylic paint mixed with isopropyl alcohol, and I cover the entire thing, and then I take a paper towel and dab some of it away. This is a super quick and super easy way to weather an entire project, but if you're not careful, you can go a little overboard and add too much if the alcohol dries too quick. And that was the case for me, as I did a little too much in the eyeball, so I'm going to repaint it and re-weather it later on. And small details like these oil streaks and some rust spots really add a lot of detail to miniatures. Once I get that UV cure resin into the spot that I like, I can hit it with a UV light and cure it basically instantly. I then add a few pins to the bottom of the robot, stick it in place, and with that, it's ready to go. Thanks for sticking around to the end of the video. If you enjoyed, please consider liking, consider subscribing. I've got plenty more videos like this on my channel, and if you like this, I'm sure you'll like a few others. If you have any comments, questions, or concerns, put them down in the comment section. I'll try to get back to you. I'll leave links in the description below to all the tools and materials that I use during these videos. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, I'll see you in the next video.